There is a specific kind of silence that lives in the rooms of people who are waiting for their lives to begin. It's a heavy, dusty silence. It smells like unwashed coffee mugs and unused potential. Leo sat in that silence. He was 28 years old, an artist whose canvases were mostly white, and a man whose heart was mostly empty. He had just ended things with a woman named Sarah, or rather he had let things wither until she walked away. His excuse was always the same. It just didn't feel like the one. I feel like there's something more out there. His grandfather, Arthur, found him there one evening. Arthur didn't offer platitudes. He didn't tell Leo that there were plenty of fish in the sea. Instead, he sat in the mismatched armchair in the corner of the studio, watched the sunset hit the floorboards, and said, "You look like a man who is starving because he's waiting for a feast that hasn't been cooked yet, Leo. You're paralyzed by the horizon." Leo looked up, frustrated. "I just don't want to settle, Grandpa. Is that so wrong? To want the best? To want the perfect life?" Arthur didn't answer right away. He just stood up and grabbed his coat. "Come with me. I want to show you why most people die without ever finding what they're looking for. It's not because what they want doesn't exist, it's because they don't understand the rule of the row." They drove in silence to the edge of the city, to a massive, high-end department store that was just closing its doors. Arthur led Leo to the front window, where rows upon rows of shoes, from rugged boots to delicate silk heels, stretched into the dim interior of the store. "When I was your age," Arthur began, his voice dropping into a rhythmic storytelling cadence, "I was convinced that life was a giant catalog. I thought my job was to be the ultimate consumer of experiences. My own grandfather brought me here, to this very spot, and he gave me a challenge." Arthur's voice took on the weight of the memory. He told me, "Arthur, go inside. Walk through the shoe department exactly once. You are to pick the best pair in the building, the pair that fits your soul, your feet, and your future. But there is one rule. You cannot turn back. Once you pass a row, those shoes are gone forever. You must only move forward." Leo watched his grandfather's reflection in the glass. "I went in," Arthur continued, "and at first I was thrilled. In the first row, I saw a pair of simple, sturdy leather loafers. They were beautiful. I reached for them, but then I stopped. I thought, this is only the first row. If the first row is this good, imagine what's in the middle. Imagine what's at the end." So I walked on. I passed Italian leather. I passed boots made of exotic skins. Every time I found a pair I liked, I felt a pang of anxiety. I'd think, what if the next pair is 10% better? What if the next pair has a better shine? I became a victim of the what if. I started comparing the shoes in front of me to the ghosts of the shoes I had already passed and the fantasies of the shoes I hadn't seen yet. I reached the final row. My heart was pounding, and you know what was there? The clearance rack. Scuffed leather, sizes too small, the leftovers. I had spent my entire journey looking past the present, and I walked out of that store into the cold night with bare feet. Arthur looked at Leo. "That is love, Leo. We chase a ghost of perfection, thinking something better is always one swipe or one aisle away. We fail to value the sturdy, beautiful thing right in front of us, and by the time we realize the best ones were miles behind us, the door is locked." Leo was quiet, the image of the empty-handed man stinging his ego. "Okay," Leo said softly. "I get it. I missed the shoes. But surely marriage is different. Marriage isn't just about not missing out. It's about finding the right person to build a life with. You can't just pick the first thing you see." Arthur smiled, a slow, knowing crease of his eyes. "You're right. Marriage isn't the shop. Marriage is the field. A few years after the shoe shop, I was still searching. I was dating the whole world but committed to no one. So my grandfather took me to a cornfield at harvest time. The stalks were 10 feet high, golden and swaying. He gave me a basket and said, "Find the biggest, ripest, most perfect ear of corn in this field. Same rule, move only forward, no turning back." I was wiser now. I walked slowly. I saw a few good ones early on, but I told myself to be patient. Then, about halfway through, I saw it. A magnificent stalk. The corn was heavy, the silk was dark and rich. It was a perfect ear of corn. But the old habit crept back. I thought, I still have half the field left. If the middle of the field produces this, the end of the field must be legendary. I let go of the stalk. I walked another 100 yards, but the soil changed. It got drier. The stalks got thinner. I started to panic. I started looking for a stalk that was at least as good as the one I had abandoned in the middle, but I couldn't find it. Every one I saw looked stunted compared to the one I had abandoned. I realized then that perfection is an illusion that keeps you moving until you run out of ground. So I stopped. I found a stalk that was good. Not perfect, not the biggest in the world, but it was healthy. It was solid. I picked it. I held it in my hands like it was made of gold, and I walked out. My grandfather looked at my corn and said, "This is marriage, Arthur. You've learned that you don't find perfection, you find something good, something honest, and you choose to make it your world. You stop looking at the other stalks. You go home, you husk it, you cook it, and you nourish yourself with it. Happiness doesn't come from having the most, it comes from the peace of having enough and loving it completely." The narrator brings the story back to the present. The sun has set completely now. Arthur turned to Leo. "You think you're looking for a masterpiece to paint, Leo, but a masterpiece isn't something you find in the woods. It's what happens when an artist stays with one canvas for a long, long time. After the initial thrill of the first brushstroke wears off, after the colors get messy, after you want to rip it up and start over. Sarah wasn't a row of shoes you passed, Leo. She was a stalk of corn you held in your hand and then threw away because you thought the field was infinite. But the field has a fence, son. Everyone's field has a fence." Leo looked at his empty studio. For the first time, he didn't see it as a place of freedom, but as a place of his own making, a place where he was the king of nothing. "What do I do now?" Leo asked. "You stop walking," Arthur said. "You realize that the next best thing is a thief that steals the good thing you have right now. You go to Sarah, not because she's perfect, and not because you're sure there isn't someone better out there. You go to her because she is yours if you choose her. You go to her because you're tired of walking through the rows with empty hands." Arthur left then, his footsteps echoing down the hallway. Leo stood alone. He picked up a phone, but then he set it down. He walked over to his canvas. He didn't wait for a perfect inspiration. He didn't wait for a bolt of lightning. He picked up a brush, dipped it in a deep, honest blue, and made a single mark. He realized that the grandfather was right. The boy in the story didn't find love in the shop, and he didn't find marriage in the field. He found them in the moment he decided that where he was standing was exactly where he was meant to stay. Because in the end, the only way to win the game of no turning back is to find someone worth standing still for.